Stay with Track Alerts TV by clicking the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to make sure you get all our races, interviews, and exclusive content. And don't forget to like, comment, and share.
Okay, phase two. We start with Nick Willis. You know where I'm going with the first question, Nick. Is this the year that you win it? Is it the year?
I always come back to give myself a chance. I've always said if you get yourself on the start line enough, you never know what other people are going to do. If you're consistent, then you've always put yourself in with a shot. But I'm realistic also. I'll be excited to run a good, solid time and help sort of earn enough points towards Olympic qualification. That's my main goal for this year, is to try and get to my 5th Games.
Your 5th Games, that's quite an achievement. You've had such a long career. You first ran at the Armory in 2001 when you won the National Scholastic High School Mile. Did you ever envisage being a 5-time Olympian at that stage in your life?
No, never.
Never?
It's been a crazy, wild, and exciting ride all at the same time. And yeah, I thought maybe 25, 26 is sort of when you peak, and you got maybe 2 more years after that, and I'll be sitting in a cubicle for the rest of my life. But my friend said, don't you dare come and join us here. Try and do this running thing as long as you can. So that's what I've tried to do, and I've been very fortunate at 36 to still be going.
Yeah. 18 years, you've just broken John Walker's record for consistency in the mile, breaking for 18 years, is that right?
It's tied his...
it's tied?
Yeah, 18 years in succession, I suppose. It's not really an official record or anything, but yeah. It starts making you wonder, I guess.
Next year?
It'd be silly to stop now, and
yes.
Maybe I'll have to try and go for a couple more years to get to 20, but whether my body will let me is another question.
What's been the secret, Nick, for this longitude?
I've been asked this a few times, and I don't know for sure, but I think some of the key points is that I've always been one who likes to go to bed early and wake up early every day. So I've always got my 9 hours of sleep. All through college even, I went to bed at 10 p.m. in the dorms when everyone else started studying at midnight sort of thing. I've always taken a day off every week. It's just not very common, especially here in the US, to people like, you got to work harder, and it's the only thing that gets me through my 22-mile long run, Donovan. Knowing that I have a day off the next day, those last 4 miles are bearable if I know I have a day off. And thirdly, my family and I, we travel together on the road. So my wife and I have been married for almost 12 years now, and maybe it has been 12 years. Yeah, it has.
Be careful in what you say now, Nick. Be careful.
So she's my assistant coach and my assistant manager, and now we've got 2 young kids, and we've always done life on the road as an athlete, so we're not away from each other 6 months of the year, and I think that can get quite burdensome on the athlete if you're out of a suitcase all the time. So we rent Airbnbs normally rather than stay at the meet hotels when we're in Europe, and yeah, so we've sort of shared that journey, so it hasn't made me like want to quit the sport in that regard, because we want to still keep traveling and seeing the world.
What do you do on your day off, Nick? Do you have anything particular you do?
It's normally catching up on all of the things that I haven't been able to do when I've been training. There's always bank errands or post office, all of the normal mundane things. Even in college I did that, because there's always office hours or stuff you got to catch up on it. Just I don't think about running or my job in the slightest bit. I don't stretch in the slightest. A lot of runners will say, well, do you cross train on your day off? I'm like, absolutely not. It's more a mental break more so than the physical break.
When you're preparing for a big event, do you have a specific workout that it's your go-to workout to tell you where you are?
Yeah, it depends whether I've been racing leading up to the championship or whether if I've had just a training block where I have to do a workout. The one my coach likes to give me is a 1K at 2:30, which is sort of like, this is to simulate a championship race where you're running 60-second laps until the last sprint. So we do a 1K in 2 minutes 30, then 4 400s in 60 seconds. So all of that is like, that's pretty solid. But then he says, now do another 1K AUG, all you got. So I've managed to run a 2:19 as my best ever for that. But that basically simulates that last sort of 600-meter grind of a race. And once I can get through that psychologically, it's pretty hard to like get myself up to that point to do a solo 1K. But yeah, it's given me confidence going into the big races.
Do you go to altitude for training?
I've been up in Flagstaff for the last 2 months. Yep.
Okay.
I've done 9 trips to Flagstaff now and a couple to Albuquerque and to Boulder before. And we even stayed up in a ski resort in the French Alps 2 years ago in Tignes, which is really neat as well. So yeah, we enjoy it up there. One of the main benefits I find for altitude training as a middle distance runner isn't just for the blood adaptations, but it's the fact that I can train a lot slower for my regular runs. Normally I'd run 6-minute miles for my running to keep my aerobic fitness going, but at altitude I can run 8-minute miles and still get my heart pumping, so my legs are not nearly as fatigued from that. If you're running 90 miles a week at 6-minute mile pace, your legs are pretty flat, they lose that pop in them. But if I can jog 8-minute pace, it means that when I put on my spikes to do the faster stuff to try and imitate Donovan being a sprinter, yeah, I'm able to get a bit more pop out of my stride, so that helps get me ready for a championship, I think.
You taking note of that, Donovan? You taking note of all that? Okay. Yeah.
It's easy. You can train slower at altitude, so you can just chill. You're sleeping, you get the benefit.
And I think I asked you this last year, but you're pretty set on what you're going to do post-running career, Nick, right?
My wife and I have got about a dozen fun projects, mostly related to running, that we're excited to undergo. Okay. And when that happens, whether we start transitioning into some of those after Tokyo or whether we wait till I'm completely finished running, I'm not sure. But yeah, there's a lot of fun projects we sort of had to put on the side with it. So put on many different hats of either being meet promoters or doing some coaching projects or some running camps and lots of fun stuff like that to still be involved in some way. But I'm also can't wait to get back on my snowboard, and I want to start learning to ski as well. My son's a pretty handy little skier, so I'm really keen to start joining him on the slopes as well.
How old are your children now?
I have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old boy.
Wow, great. Thanks, Nick. Elinor Purrier, who was second in the Fifth Avenue Mile just last fall and had a breakthrough year, Elinor, really last year with that 5,000 meters in Doha, a PR. Are you a miler or are you 5,000 meter runner? Which are you? Or don't you know?
I don't know. I think at heart I'm a miler, but I'm really enjoying the training for the 5K, and it's been going well, so I have been enjoying the 5K.
You were so close at the Fifth Avenue Mile, wasn't you, Michael? So close, inches. What goes through your mind when it's that close? What are you thinking?
I don't think I'm thinking about much except for the finish line.
Right.
Yeah, I just was competing, and I wish I could have got a little bit more there at the end, but yeah, I don't know.
And she's your New Balance teammate as well.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But that all goes by the side when you're racing, doesn't it?
Yes.
So what are your expectations coming into the mile here?
Just looking at the field, I know it's going to be a fast race, or I'd assume it's going to be a fast race, but I'm really excited to be competing against the girls that are in the race, and I'm just hoping for a PR.
Did you expect, I remember you from the Northeast Cross Country NXN race a few years ago, right?
A few, yeah.
Yes, just a few, because I was announcing that when you came into the finish. So did you think then you'd become who you are today?
No.
No.
I had no idea. It's kind of crazy just to think about who I was in high school and having like a little bit of success, but really not even knowing much about this world at all.
Is it everything you thought it was going to be? The sport at this level, being at the elite level?
Well, I didn't really know what it was. So in college, I think I started to open my eyes to a professional career, and I think it's better than I would have ever thought. Like, I'm having so much fun, and
how can it be fun doing all those hard workouts?
My teammates make it fun, and we go to altitude camp and just all live together, and that's pretty cool. And we get to travel so much and see the world, and I don't know, it's always fun to push ourselves and do better.
What's the workout you hate to do when your coach says, I want you to do this? What's the one you really don't want to do?
Heartbreak Hills.
Very
He makes
close.
us do repeat Heartbreak Hills.
Really? How many do you have to do?
Usually 10.
Okay. By the 8th, you're thinking, oh, dear.
Yeah, it's usually in the middle where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. But then by the last couple, you're like, okay, only a couple more, you can do it.
Yeah. When you think about training and racing, other than the success of it all, what sort of motivates you to get up each day and do your workouts? Is it the race ahead? What is it? I mean, it's not easy, is it?
No.
As Donovan finds out when he does his 12-mile runs. Sorry, Donovan.
I feel like it's like up and down, you know, like you go through like training bits where it just kind of drags out, and then you're like kind of waiting for the races, and that's when it gets more exciting. So, you know, I just kind of take it day by day, but I think my teammates really motivate me a lot, just to have somebody to train with, and, you know, like everybody in the community, but definitely just wanting to do better, and I have a lot of fun going to races, so wanting to prepare for those the best I can definitely motivates me.
Now, Sandy Morris is thinking of having a goat farm, but you come from a farming family, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about the farm and.
Okay. I grew up on a farm in Vermont. My farm has like about 60 cows and
No goats?
no goats.
Sorry,
no.
Sandy.
We had pigs when I was growing up, but mostly just cows. And yeah,
Do you miss them?
I do. I miss them a lot.
That's great. Elinor Purrier, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news is Joe Kovacs is still sitting in that seat. It hasn't diminished him.
I'm trying not to move too much, so if I go down, you guys know why.
We have to say, and I'm sure all of you agree, that the shot put competition in Doha, the World Championships, was the event. 3 guys within 1 centimetre. What a thrill that must have been for you, Joe, especially when you had the 1 centimetre differential in your favour.
Oh, it definitely was. And I'll tell you, if it wasn't even in my favor, the 3 of us, for how far we threw, I mean, I think at that level, the amount of respect that we put in to get to that point, if Ryan would have had it or Tom would have had it, you know, everybody came away with a huge PR, a distance that most of us have never even seen in training, except for a few times. So we're all really happy about that.
I can't imagine sprinters adopting the same attitude as you in the shot put, of willing each other on. I can't see that somehow.
Well, you know, I'll tell you the difference, too, because when you guys are on the track running against each other, it's kind of a little bit of a battle. But in the shot put, you know, I'm turning around and the other person might be taking their throw, and if he can do something when I'm not watching, that means I got to figure something out in my mind to beat him. The head-to-head battle thing, you know, of course you want to win, but I definitely do know we respect each other, because we know if I'm putting in that much work, they got to be putting that much work.
So you're going to come up against Ryan Krause yet again.
Yes, I saw him in drug testing this morning, and he looked way too happy, so so that's never a good thing. He's always ready to throw far.
Are you ready?
For the Olympic year, yeah. For tomorrow, I'll tell you, I'm in a really good place in my training. As a shot putter, you know, we don't really have an off event, you know, like you might run up a distance or a lower distance in training. In the shot put, we don't really have that. Maybe like an Olympic lifting meet or powerlifting meet would be like our off training. So getting into the season, I'm just excited to start my 2020 here. My mom and stepdad are coming. I got aunts, uncles, and cousins coming. So I feel like this is a good start to the journey. So I'm excited about that.
Joe, I know you're going to Coogan's afterwards because you've got a table for 10.
Yes, I am.
Peter Walsh and...
And Peter, there might be a little more than 10, so...
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, if Ryan joins me and the other shot putters, then yeah, we might call it 20, so...
So I wanted you to know that on the dessert menu, it's the Joe Kovacs New York-style cheesecake.
Oh, perfect.
All right.
Can I put that order in right now?
Thought you might enjoy that.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Thank you.
Do you take a day off like Nick does? I think Nick is smart having a day off. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, recovery is key. And like at this time of the year, as a shot putter, like the training is vastly different than the runner, I'll tell you that. But I'm trying to build the biggest engine possible. So the bigger and stronger I can get this time of the year, the more powerful I'll be when it counts. So the recovery is key. The amount of sleep I'm getting, I take it probably, I'll say at least 1, if not 2 days off. The second day might be more of like a stretching recovery kind of day. Okay. But recovery is key this time of the year because the harder I can push on my lifting days, the more I have to recover on the off days.
What do you bench press?
Just over 600 pounds.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. And you're still sitting in that chair?
Yeah, well.
Goodness gracious.
Yep.
What do you do on your days off, Joe? How do you relax? You listen to music, go to movies? What do you do? Go to a restaurant?
It depends on the time of year. So like this time of year that I am lifting, it's very boring. I don't have any cool stories to tell you because the lifting is so extreme that it's really just knocking me out the next day. You know, I almost have to plan to be lazy, plan to recover as best I can. Now, as the season gets a little bit fresher, like last year, my wife and I did some golfing. After I went to Prefontaine Classic, I actually played at Pebble Beach, which was my birthday present. So that was actually a fun little hobby to pick up.
A score? A score?
The score?
How many were you over par?
I'll tell you, I birdied the hole number 7, which is like that iconic hole that you see with the background.
You birdied it?
I won't talk about the other holes, but they just had the U.S. Open, so the fairways were still a little tight and tough. So, you know, you got to factor that in the score.
Nick, do you play golf at all?
Not since my second child was born.
No. Okay. How long are you going to stay? You're not going to be a wide receiver, are you?
No, I will not be.
Or a pole vaulter?
No, unless the poles start getting made of like some kind of metal. But yeah, those things are going to snap.
What's in your future, Joe?
Good question. I think being happy. That's one thing I'm kind of really trying to focus on this next quad. I made the transition training in California, and now I'm in Ohio. So a lot of the things I thought I was going to do, I'm kind of revamping. But I love what I'm doing now, and everybody keeps saying these are the peak years for the shot put. So I'm going to make sure I can get a bigger PR I can while I'm in this zone.
That's great. How did you celebrate in Doha?
So right after, I mean, you guys probably maybe saw the yelling celebration I did on the track.
No, we never saw that. No.
But, you know, I actually stayed up the whole night because, of course, adrenaline, and my parents were back at the hotel, and I never slept. My wife was actually, she was my coach, and she was actually the team coach for the U.S. men's throws. So she was kind of on the clock the whole time, never really got to go out and do anything fun either. So the next day we went to the market, we took a boat ride around Doha, and then, of course, when we got back to the U.S., we went to Disney for 3 days. Because, of course, when you win a world championship, you got to go to Disney World. So
interesting. Joe Kovacs, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Stay with Track Alerts TV by clicking the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to make sure you get all our races, interviews, and exclusive content. And don't forget to like, comment, and share.